near and dear. Counter-Strike. Good news for me. Giving an 8th grade graduation speech is a pretty important event. I was thinking about this, and I think it falls just a click below big speeches, State of the Union. And probably a notch above Hall of Fame speeches. So somewhere right in the middle of that. When J-Bar asked me to do this speech, I tried really hard to remember some great graduation speeches that I had heard. Words that got people inspired on the edge of their seat, made their faces sweat, as we say in our family, created standing ovations. And then I realized something really, really important about graduation speeches. I can't remember a single one that I've ever heard. Legitimately. I legitimately cannot. So the bar is set firmly at mediocrity, which is what I was asked to deliver. Try to do a little better than that tonight. I've known a lot of these graduates for a long time. It's kind of fun when you're a dad, you get to have them over to your house. They sleep in your basement, keep you up till 3 in the morning. And but they're always teaching me things. That's one of the things I think that's amazing about all you kids I've gotten to know. And even last week I was at their band concert and I learned something new. Grant Manthine, handbells. Where you been? I had no idea. No idea. Did a great job, man. It was fun to see. I thought for a while actually about what I could talk about today. I had a couple different ideas, but one kept coming back to me over and over again. So we're going to spend a little time on the importance of no matter what relationships. And for you graduates, some of the friendships that you have right now, you've already started really important relationships with each other, and that's really fun to see as someone who has been fortunate to have some pretty deep relationships. I've been really fortunate in my life with relationships. I've got some really old, good relationships in my life. My wife and I actually went to preschool church nursery together when we first met. And we didn't date until college. But my in-laws who are here tonight have actually known me since I was a little kid. Little kid for me was a very short window of time. But they've known me since I was a little kid. And those are deep relationships that I've had for a long time in my life. And my 5 best friends in the world, I've known them since kindergarten. We still stay in touch all the time. And I asked the person in the back, just to let's take the time back here to 1991. We're going to go to Millbrook Middle School, and we're going to pull up some class photos from Millbrook Middle School. That's me up there on the top left from 8th grade. I just want you all to drink in a couple things right now. Mostly the turtlenecks. Very cold Michigan. Back issues. My buddies and I actually were laughing about this the other night. Some of these clowns thought it was a good idea to sign their own yearbook and their own autograph. I've been giving Brad a hard time about that for a while. But what's funny about relationships in that way is I thought about having these guys zoom in tonight, because I've known them since kindergarten, and we thought about trying to pull that off, but it probably wouldn't work. But what's cool about our relationship is if I would have asked them and I really needed them to be here, they'd be here. That's the kind of relationship we have, because our relationships together are no matter what relationships. That means whatever we need from each other, whatever it is, we'll be there for each other. We've actually debated as friends the buckets that your friends can fall into for you 8th graders. The first bucket that friends can fall into, you can kind of define them as the flat tire groups. So if you have a flat tire in the middle of the road, most of the dads know what I'm talking about. You have a flat tire in the middle of the night, and you can call a few people. Who do you call? The first group that you call picks up the phone and they say, all right, I'll be there in 30 minutes. You can count on me. I'm getting in the car right now. I'm going to come get you. That's the good group, by the way. The second group, you've got a flat tire. It's the middle of the night. You pick up the phone and you call them. And the second group says, I'm going to call AAA for you. I'm going to try to get you a tow truck. Let me know how it goes. If you get some. The third bucket picks up the phone and says, you had a flat tire. That stinks. Just let me know how that works out. And then the fourth bucket picks up the phone and says, I don't have this phone number. I'm saved in my phone. Who is this? I don't know who you are. In all reality, I wanted to share these guys with you because There's nothing in my life personally that I've gone through, good or bad, that they don't know about. Those 5 people on the screen, along with myself. We've been through middle school, high school, college, marriage, raising kids, broken relationships, cancer, death of parents, loss of jobs, bad decisions, good decisions, really bad decisions. You name it, there's nothing that we wouldn't do for each other. And what's really cool about them is there's not a week that goes by where we don't communicate no matter what. The 8th grade class chose a verse, Psalm 25, 4-5. Show me your ways, O Lord, teach me your paths. Guide me to your truth and teach me, for you are my God and my Savior, and my hope is with you all day long. Now, usually when I hear words of the psalmist, I think about a field, a meadow, maybe a harp, some mountains, some streams. Come on, you're with me. A big giant feather on a pen, as the psalmist writes. Wild animals playing peacefully. Very similar to Divine Redeemer Recess. That's usually what I think about when I hear psalms. With your class, my thought was a little different. I said this to J-Bar the other day. My first thought is, be careful what you wish for when I read that verse. You're entering a stage of your life where you're going to get told no a lot more often than you're used to. When you're a kid, people figure out a way to include you. As you become a young adult, they figure out a way to say no when you're in the wrong spot. And that's hard. So you're going to be facing that pretty quickly here. And for some of you, I'm already noticing you're getting pulled into high school things right away. It's happening already. You've got practices, you've got games, you're part of a band, you're going to try out for a play, you're in a class. Those things are happening to you already. And they get really hard pretty quickly. And you're going to face adversity and challenges, and you're going to see a lot of new things. And because of that, you're going to need to have, no matter what, relationships in your life. You're going to need friends like that in your life. And it's a certainty that when you go to high school, you're going to lose friends that you have right now. You're going to gain new ones. And you're going to keep some of the ones that you have. That is a certainty. Anybody who's been to high school knows that. But you also have options. When it comes to deep relationships, you don't have to listen to me. You might be saying, who the heck is this guy and how long he's going to talk? Those are fair questions. But you don't have to listen to me. You can go to high school, you can go to college, you can get married, you can have kids. You can do all those things without really ever engaging in deep relationships with people. And I would tell you, if you do that, you're living life in black and white. You're not living life in color, which is where you want to be living. It's a lot more rich when you have, no matter what, relationships. So the questions that I have for you are pretty simple. And I had a couple of things I wanted you to think about before you come across this stage. I'm just going to ask you to do a couple of self-checks before you do that. And the first question to create these kind of relationships in your life, there's 3 things that you can do that I think are meaningful. The first is to say to yourself, have I really accepted the grace of Christ in my life? Have I really done that? And what I mean by that is, have I actually accepted that my identity is in Him? And because of that, the grace He's provided me allows me to do the second thing. So the first thing is, have I actually allowed myself to accept that my identity is in Christ? The second thing then becomes, am I willing to be vulnerable with my friends and with others to be my authentic self to them and risk engaging in a deep relationship with someone? Am I willing to have those kind of friendships? If you've understood what Christ has done for you with grace, it's a lot easier to do the second step if you have taken the first. And then the third thing to me is where faith really gets fun. And hopefully some of the adults in the room will know what I'm talking about when I say this. Once you've done those first 2 things and you've gotten into relationships with people that matter, you actually get to be that person for someone else, where they're willing to be vulnerable with you, and you can share your faith and their faith together. And that to me is really where your verse that you've chosen comes to life. My prayer for you all would be very simple, that your best friends are signposts for Christ in your life, because you're a signpost for Christ in theirs. I'll read that again. My prayer for you as 8th graders would be that you all have best friends that are signposts for Christ in your life, because you're a signpost for Christ in theirs. If you're like the psalmist and you ask God for his path to be shown to you, which is what you all did with your class verse, and you've taken the time to develop some really deep relationships, then I would tell you to buckle up. It's going to get kind of fun as you get older. Because I promise you, you're going to get exactly what you're asking for in that verse, if you've done those things. What's kind of cool for me to stand up here and see is all of the relationships that you all are forming. I know many of you are really good friends already, and it's fun for me to see that because I have been blessed with relationships like that in my life. And for some of you right now, you may have relationships that 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, Lord willing, are sitting with you right now, and you're still going to have those friendships down the road. And no matter what happens in your life, those friends are going to be there for you when you laugh, when you cry, when you celebrate, when you need encouragement, when you have failure, and when you have success, no matter what. That's all I got for you. Thank you for letting me be a part of your graduation tonight. I'm super proud of you guys and really encouraged to see where God takes you next in your life. Thanks, everybody.